Have you ever had to help a kid with some arts and crafts, show him how it's done, but then you look at the macaroni, the glue, the glitter, and you get paralyzed? Nothing comes to mind. What do I suck down the dry macaroni, lather the glue all over my body, and huff the glitter? And while you're getting lost in the macaroni sauce, the kid you were originally trying to help is putting together a hyper-realistic collage of Mr. Bean made out of actual beans. At this point, you might realize that you wish you were more creative. And that's precisely when your feed algorithms take the wheel and start blasting you with videos about this sage monk wizard guy talking about his book, The Creative Act, where he has the audacity to say that you are creative whether you think so or not. The nerve. The Creative Act by Rick Rubin came out in 2023, but is still hanging out on Powell's Bookstore's best-selling rack at #1 in nonfiction this year. Now, what you may have seen about this book is that it has that sort of, key to unlocking your full creative potential in 5 easy steps, then world domination kind of vibe to it. But don't worry, it's not actually that kind of book. Nah, this book is actually a really insightful collection of ideas about the creative process combined with a practice of awareness. It guides you into the warm, loving arms of creativity while reminding you that you've already been in the loving, sweaty arms of creativity already. That's half the battle. Isn't that exciting? Let's get creative right now. Whoa, hold on there, sport. Why should I trust this guy? You don't have to trust him because he looks like an excommunicated monk who's now taken up the life of the guru rock star, but he's actually one of the most successful and prolific music producers of all time. He brought up acts like Run DMC, the Beastie Boys, and produced for artists like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Jay-Z, Eminem, Johnny Cash, Lana Del Rey. You get the idea. So he is an important cornerstone in the music industry, sure. But you want to hear something straight up goofy? The brother doesn't even know how to make music. You hand him a recorder and he doesn't know how to play an instrument. He doesn't know how to work a soundboard. He has no technical experience in music. Look, he says like the same thing I just said.
Do you play instruments?
Barely.
Do you know how to work a soundboard?
No. I have no technical ability.
So you're telling me that this guy doesn't even know how to fart on key and he's producing for Jay-Z? How? I think there is an important distinction when it comes to Rubin. He may not be able to play the recorder, but what he can do is get somebody in the right headspace, the right creative space, to rip one of the best recorder dirges you've ever freaking heard. He knows how to create an environment that inspires, to unleash creative exploration, to get some of the most talented artists to create to the best of their abilities. And he has proven this time and time again. So it doesn't matter that he doesn't know how to fart in the melodic minor scale. What matters is that he knows how to get creative. He knows the ingredients, the spices, the kinds of oil you need to use to lube up and create. And this is the golden wisdom that he's sharing with us in this book. This is a man who has seen creativity firsthand with some of the most talented artists in the world. Rubin is intimately familiar with the creative process. He knows it's a force beyond ourselves, like a mysterious deer in the woods. You can't make yourself find it, but you could put yourself in the path of it. Start to recognize when and where it will be. Being mindful enough not to scare it away. No. Dang it. If I could grossly summarize the kind of content in this book, it's essentially a collection of creative insights, concepts, and single thoughts. This book is not a step-by-step guide, and it shouldn't be. That's stupid town. Creativity is more dynamic than a step-by-step process. He appropriately refers to his chapters as 78 areas of thought, and they are just that. A wide array of concepts and perspectives, as well as just practical advice. There are insights like how good, consistent habits make for good creative habits. Removing distractions, or maybe just adding the right kind of distractions. Knowing when to take a step back and maybe approach your project from a different angle. Fighting against negative and self-defeating talk, etc. These thoughts are relatively short, they're compact, and can help you consider aspects of creativity that you might not have ever really thought of before. The best thing is, there are so many ideas that you will probably take away something pretty insightful wherever you are on your creative journey. Whether you're opening up your first pack of macaroni and glue, or you've been making Mr. Bean collages for years. This is the kind of book you can consistently return to and still find more beans. But there is another component to Rubin's writings that I don't think everybody will agree with. And it is that Rubin believes that there is a fundamental and necessary spiritual component to creativity, which he refers to as the source. We begin with everything. Everything seen, everything done, everything thought, everything felt, imagined, forgotten, and everything that rests unspoken and unthought within us. This is our source material. The source is out there, a wisdom surrounding us, an inexhaustible offering that is always available. We either sense it, remember it, or tune into it. If you think of the ancient Greeks, whenever they would start the oratory of an epic poem, like the Iliad or the Odyssey, it was often tradition to call upon the muses, literal gods of divine creative power that we call upon. Because creating art that is powerful and timeless almost goes beyond the corporeal. It's like it's almost something that happens to you that you happen to be the translator for. Which is why I don't think we can truly just force great art to come out of ourselves, but it really takes inspiration from something truly beyond our comprehension. And I think even the ancient Greeks realized this by the way that they needed to call upon the muses in order to create something greater than themselves. I think Rubin believes something similar. And I know it sounds pretty woo-woo, like Rubin is huffing his own non-melodic farts, but just follow us for a second. In the chapter The Unseen, this is where Rubin talks about that spiritual component to creativity. We aren't creating to produce or sell materials. The act of creation is an attempt to enter a mysterious realm, a longing to transcend. Art is a portal to the unseen world. Without the spiritual component, the artist works with a crucial disadvantage. The spiritual world provides a sense of wonder and a degree of open-mindedness not always found within the confines of science. The world of reason can be narrow and filled with dead ends, while a spiritual viewpoint is limitless and invites fantastic possibilities. I don't think Rubin is arguing that you need to be religious or something in order to create good art, but even if you don't give credence to the spiritual, it might be beneficial to create as if you do, because art itself is a reach for the transcendent. And like he says, the confines of science, while real and exact and measurable, is limited, and it doesn't give you this boundless freedom in which to create as if there is a mysterious world out there that you are trying to transcend to. This is why throughout the book you will notice the way he stresses the importance of awareness. If the source is always out there, then that means that creativity and the inspiration to create is happening around you all the time. It's just up to you whether you want to practice the awareness to tune into that or not. Pay attention to the world around you and the feelings that it evokes in you. It may inspire you to create something profound. A simple breeze in the wind on a summer's day could inspire you to write the most gentle piano ballad. A setting sun reflecting off the buildings of a skyline may influence the way you graphic design. The bright smile on a small child might make you want to create the most head-smashing death metal opus you've ever heard. I think one of the biggest mistakes that people can make about creativity, mistake that I've made plenty of times, is that you have to wait for it to strike you. You have to make sure that your environment is perfect. You got all the tools, you're in the zone. You got to make sure you poop beforehand. So then you can start writing the first chapter of your book. No. That's garbage. That's stupid town. Creativity and inspiration can happen at any time, but it takes practice to be aware and tune into that. Everything around you could be a source for creativity. It's an untapped well. You got to get more and more intimately familiar with what it's like to recognize the muse and notice that it passes you all the time. In fact, maybe you need to follow it. Go to the same places that it goes. Follow it into the bathroom or something. Try to be covert about it, but then you get arrested because you're being a creep. Don't follow anyone into the bathroom. What the heck is the matter with you? Sir, did you just follow creativity in the bathroom? I would never. What makes this book truly unique and why I think it should be read by anyone, whether you think yourself creative or not, is that even if you don't think of yourself as creative, let me let you on a little secret, okay? You are creative. You are creative. Okay, don't fight me on this. Let me ask you a few simple questions to prove this. Do you make food for yourself? Do you have furniture in your home? Do you dress yourself? Do you speak words to express yourself? If you do even one of the above, you're creative. You're creative. That's the facts. You are taking the elements and materials of this world and putting them together in a way that only you can uniquely do. Even if you make frozen meals naked in an apartment full of IKEA furniture and speak in only yes and no's, that is an extremely creative way to live, man. I would love to see a documentary of that person. What the heck? Does this person exist? There's gotta be somebody out there who does that. That might be one of the most interesting and creative people who's ever lived. Actually, it could just be a League player, though. This is a fundamental part of the creative act. Not the frozen meals naked or anything, but the idea that you are inherently creative. In his very first chapter, Rubin states, creativity is a fundamental aspect of being human. It's our birthright, and it's for all of us. Creativity doesn't exclusively relate to making art. We all engage in this act on a daily basis. To create is to bring something into existence that wasn't there before. It could be a conversation, the solution to a problem, a note to a friend, the rearrangement of furniture in a room, IKEA furniture. What you make doesn't have to be witnessed, recorded, sold, or encased in glass for it to be a work of art. Through the ordinary state of being, we're already creators in the most profound way. Regardless of whether or not we're formally making art, we are all living as artists. To live as an artist is a way of being in the world. Your entire life is a form of self-expression. You exist as a creative being in a creative universe, a singular work of art. This is the paradigm shift that permeates throughout this whole book. It's that 2% change in angle that farther down the road just makes the world of difference. At face value, this might not be the most mind-blowing concept, but I think for some people, it could be really important to hear that you are creative no matter what you do. There is so much freedom in that it is a capacity within yourself that is happening already. And just because you don't make an album that is streamed millions of times or videos that are watched thousands of times, the way you take in the world, interpret it, perceive it, filter it, and then create something back into it. That is the most genuine expression of art. I think it's subtle but very profound that creativity is a way of being. It's not something you have to try to become. You can certainly get better at it, but it's still within you. Creativity is a fundamental part of your being, and it would be a mistake to ignore that. Similarly, you can ignore the fact that you experience emotions, but does that make you flourish as a human being? I don't think so. And I think Rubin would say the same about creativity in this case. So to me, this is one of the most encouraging things about this book. This should take the pressure off of anyone who just wants to create casually and for fun. This era of content creation has given us this idea that we need to create to sell and to produce. But truly, that is disingenuous to real art. It's not to say that real and good art can be made and also profitable, but that certainly shouldn't be the intention. Creativity existed long before monetization on YouTube. So I feel like in this way, it's created this sort of divide between people who are content creators and people who just want to create for fun, just for fulfillment. Like you need to have a certain level of talent to do so. And this book is saying you don't. You are a creative person regardless. And I believe that this book dignifies that part of yourself regardless of what the creation, regardless of what the art is. Creativity is not something you put on or do or earn your way into. It is simply a way of being, a way of existing in this world. So it doesn't matter if you're creating the next To Pimp a Butterfly or you just want to rearrange some sticks into your favorite color. Wait, what did I tell you? Green is not a creative color. Hey everyone, are you ready to get creative after this? You should. You should also read this book too. I think it's really worth your time. If you'd like to see more of the ways that I try to get creative, consider subscribing. And if you want to see some extra ultra bonus snail content or just want to support what I do, consider joining us as a member, because Roy would want you to. Peace.